Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Herve, and every other day on this channel I try to bring you cryptocurrency in the easiest way possible on the internet. Here we cover things like predictive analysis, research and tutorials to help guide you through this treacherous marketplace. So if that's the type of content you find interesting, be sure to click that like button and subscribe to the channel with your notifications on so that you don't get to miss out on any other value-packed video like this one. Now, technical analysis allows us to forecast where price will go. It is very difficult to then know when it will go to where you think it will later go, which is why today I invited Andrea to the channel. She is an expert in astrology to come help us understand when we will have certain movements in price action. We will be discussing when we will have another dip and when we will have a relief rally, up to when we get to go vertical. So let's begin the show. Hello, Andrea, and welcome back to Understanding Crypto. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm fine. Thank you. Thank you for having me here
Yeah.
again. I'm glad to do this again with you and your audience. I'm glad that it was a good first impression. Very important to me. Thank you.
Yeah, they really loved it. They loved it. The last time we had our interview, you forecasted the drop in August. You did talk about some red wave coming in August, and we've been, unfortunately, you were right.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, you were right about that, and we've been in the gallows ever since then. So maybe
Yes.
do we have any good news on the horizon?
I think it's mixed, to be honest, bearish and bullish, but I think it will be also an element of surprise. And I would say that this September could be very different from what we are used to. Could be because it's quite, let's say, not so sure because of Uranus, which is the unpredictable planet, but I will share my thoughts, my thinking process around it. And we do have also the eclipses. So therefore, it's a very powerful eclipse. It's still partial lunar eclipse, but we have all the turning points right now. And this means that we will have Pluto and Uranus very strongly influencing the markets. And this didn't happen in the Septembers before. So we need
That's
to be
interesting.
aware of that.
That's
Yeah.
interesting because September, we know September to be a very bad month. The last September, we really did not drop. We were just consolidating it. I think it's like plus 3% for that September. And but it's generally a bad month. Like we have the largest percentage decreases in September. So yeah, it was like 3%. So you are thinking that this one will be very different from the previous Septembers, huh?
Yes, but with downs at first, I would say, and then ups. So if we dive deeper into the month of September, I want to explain a bit, how this astrology analysis is done. So if you remember from my last discussion, it was about really saying that we have a snapshot of the planets, the planetary position at some moment in time. And this is for the markets as such. So for example, we look at the sky and this position influences us as humans, but also the markets. But we also have then the angles, like think about a geometry, the influence of these planets on your natal chart, natal horoscope of Bitcoin, natal horoscope of Herve, for example. So for everybody, it would have an influence. So we merge these two in order to drive conclusions and forecasts. So it's always important what is in the sky. So it's good weather or bad weather. In my financial calendars, this is what I call the weather because this affects everybody. But then, you have a certain circumstance and some people profit from it. Some people really have losses. So this is the individual horoscope coming up. And this is what we want to discuss about Bitcoin and markets as such. So I would like to start about the markets as such. We had big shifts. You see, we are in an endless consolidation, if you
Yeah,
ask
yeah.
me.
It's
In
it's
a way.
been it's been terrible. It's been the worst. Like I've seen people, and usually I tell people that we have time-based capitulation and price-based capitulation. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like prices going down and so people capitulate or they sell off. It could just be that we consolidate forever and you just give up. But hopefully
I
we do get some good news from you.
Yes, so I agree. I want only to give also some context. Whenever you hear from astrologers that some planets are stationary, usually consolidation is very likely. And
Mm.
why this happened, we did have Ceres. This is a big, large asteroid. It's not really a planet, having retrograde motion for the last month, and it turned direct, guess what? It was now the end of August on the 27th. On the 28th, I think everybody is aware of that, Mercury turned direct. Mercury is associated with the market, so people are attentive at this motion of Mercury. So we had two stationaries, and Uranus, which is an outer planet, it's really the catalyst for growth and volatility in financial markets, is also stationary right now and will turn direct on September the 1st. When it turns direct, it's like it will start to move, but it's like a car. It won't start with maximum speed, you know? So it will take off
Gradually.
slowly, gradually, exactly,
Yeah.
step by step. This will happen, I think, full speed. Let's say maybe not really full speed, but 1 week of September, so the first week, we still can expect some slowness. But I think the point of turning on the 1st of September, I would expect some bearish influence at first. Why? Because I think we still have some bearish aspects from Uranus, which were exact on the 19th and didn't really happen fully. So we saw some of them released these days. You notice the
I did
draft.
see your tweet on that. You did talk about some bearish aspects on the 19th, yeah.
Yes, but they didn't really fully, manifest it. But we see them now. I think we saw it's difficult to really know after a planet was stationary how much was released from the chunk of bearish aspects. But I would say that we released something now with Mercury turning direct, which happened on the 28th. We saw the dump. Now we have some recovery in between with day level aspects that we saw as well. This was yesterday, 29th of August, UTC. And today, I think in the afternoon, I would expect again bearishness. But during the weekend, we'll have some recovery, on Saturday, the 31st. It depends on the transaction volume, how much we see, because we know the weekends are not so active, so to speak, in terms of moves. So I would expect, why I expect bearish at first? Because on the 3rd of September, we do have a very important aspect, which is exact on the 3rd, and it's in the Bitcoin chart. It's a Jupiter square Uranus. The bad news is that this is bad, so it's bearish. But the good news is that usually it's a catalyst for growth afterwards, historically. It's a
So
very
the
rare
third is
aspect.
actually bearish.
Yeah, bearish, but then after the dump, I would say that we can expect pumps quite soonish. Why? Because on around the 19th, actually 19th was a very busy day. We had other beautiful, very nice aspects from Uranus towards Venus, the planet of cryptocurrency, which were positive and
Cryptocurrency has a
didn't.
planet?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Venus is
okay.
associated with currency, money, cryptocurrency. So yes, Venus, when you hear about, so Mercury's market in general, trading, the trading activity, and Venus is always the money. It's the planet of money, and we had very nice aspects, and guess what? They didn't happen. Would they happen now when Uranus will be released from its stationary period? I don't think they will not happen because Uranus is such a strong planet with a bigger orb of influence. This means that the aspect is exact on the 19th of August, but will be active for other 3 months even. And the first month after, it's still very strong. So I would say on the 5th of September, so the beginning of the month is very important. I see some beautiful daily aspects in the chart of Bitcoin, which are with Venus, I think, but the idea is that they will trigger the activation of the previous powerful Uranus. This is possible. Of course, no guarantees because we have bearish aspects in the days nearby. So this is clear we have bearish aspects, but I do think it can be a point of release for growth as well. Now we will head towards the eclipse on the 18th of September. It's a lunar eclipse. It's partial lunar eclipse in Pisces. The sign of Pisces is quite friendly to Bitcoin. It's also a water sign, which will, again, it's associated with wealth, with liquidity also. So it could be the case that in the markets, the liquidity would really go up. But we will have previously, this eclipse also shows that we could have a bearish event beforehand because this is associated with Ketu, which is the south node of the moon, which is about sacrificing, giving something up. So it seems that we'll have growth, but this will come after a dump. But the eclipse itself, it's bearish on the day, I need to say that, but it's surrounded by powerful Uranus.
When is the eclipse?
18th of September. 18th of September, it will be this eclipse in the Pisces. It's the sign of Pisces also in the tropical and in the sidereal zodiac. So in both zodiacs is the same. So this means, in my opinion, it will be very powerful. And we will see this eclipse really unfolding. I would say it would be a dump followed by a pump because the next day, the very next day after the eclipse, it's another powerful Uranus influence, which is very strong and positive. But again, volatility will be very high. So expect sudden peaks and cash in profits short term because it will not stay there. At the end of the month, I see it more bearish. A possible peak, but please take this with a grain of salt. Since 3 months, I would say, I hope I will bring it out of the door, so to speak. I have a new astrological method that I test. That is simply very different. With other techniques in astrology, we have also techniques, so it's halfway scientific, if you want to put it like this.
And I get it. Yeah.
We test it, we test it, we've back tested, and I had good results so far for this crazy market, even one day up, one day down. With this method, it seems that it detects these things also better. I don't say the other one doesn't work. It's still, established since years for me, but I want to use that as a complementary. And with that, I can see a peak nearby the eclipse. I don't know if you are aware, but on the 18th of September, we will have also this Fed-related decision, most probably about the rate cuts. So if rate cuts happen, then things will start to go up. And for that, if you want, we can dive into some material that I prepared for you about the history, the Fed rate cuts, and the, association with Bitcoin. So what did we have? I want to go into the recent history of the rate cuts. This is extracted from Forbes, so it should be quite reliable information. We had the rate cuts from Fed in 2019 and 2020, and it was progressive rate cut. So it started with minus 25 base points. I think everybody is, used to this, notation and measurement. Then it decreased again 25. Then March 3rd, if you remember the COVID and the lockdowns, I don't think you can forget. You can forget that. Nobody can. So what happened before the big lockdown, so to speak, of several months, it was a rate cut of 50 and then of 100 base points. So this was more aggressive. And of course, I wanted to see what happened in the sky back then, because Bitcoin, we know that we had some, upward trend afterwards. And it was not immediate, the peak, but in several months we had it. And what happened in the sky at that time? So like I mentioned, Venus, when you hear about Venus, Venus is about love and money.
All right.
And money, it's very, associated, of course, with all forms of money. Cryptocurrency is a new form, of course, but I see that it's a strong link between Venus, monetary policy in some regard, currencies, and the evolution that happens, in the crypto market. And Mars is a planet which cuts. It's like the symbol is a knife, so it will cut something. Therefore, I looked after Mars. Saturn is about restriction. It means that it will restrict. It's also about the law. Usually it's a law regarding something. So some authority will do some restriction, some contraction for the markets as such, and it's a decision point, of course. It's ultimate authority. Therefore, Saturn is important. And Saturn, Jupiter together, it is said, conjunction means that they are together 0 degrees when it's exact. This means that this is a decision given by the king. So this works, it's proven since thousands of years. And now we don't have kings, but we have governments, we have, Federal Reserve and such authorities in the monetary policy. And we had a Mars-Venus square, September 17th, 2019. So you see, it was quite close. It is in between. These are long-term aspects. We cannot pinpoint it to the day because day-level aspects will not say much without being combined with a big, rare astrological aspect. Then we had a Saturn-Mars opposition on December 16th, 2019. And this meant that we had this, Saturn law regarding the cuts, Mars. So it's an opposition. I think it was maybe a long debate and it took some time to really take a big decision here, but you see the cut was much bigger in 2020. And what really increased, and really triggered the final cut was the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction. So they were together. January 16th, 2020, and after, 2 months roughly in March, we saw the big cuts, so to speak. And this is what happened back then. So I would say that Fed really decided this based on a combination of aspects if we are able to predict it. Now, I want to be clear, this is not what happened in the sky back then. This is the Fed-related horoscope. It's their own astrology. So I have a date when Fed was, established. Of course, I don't have the time of birth. This is a big, drawback in a way because the predictions are less accurate. But if we have the dates and we look in the past, we see what happened back then. And basically what we do with such rare aspects, I want to say that Fed was established in 1913, so quite a while ago. We have a lot of history of rate cuts and so on, but I went only in the recent ones because Bitcoin is quite fresh. So it's from 2009. And let's see, this is the TA, the trading view related, image of a weekly chart for Bitcoin for all this time frame. And what did we see then? 16th of March, 2020.
Yeah.
So remember that day after the cut, slowly in consolidation, but then it erupted, so to speak. No?
That's actually what we are waiting for now.
Exactly.
That's what we are all waiting for.
Yes, and I want to give some, insight because we have some similar aspects in the sky right now. So I think there is hope, guys. So I hope it will run and it will be similar or even better. Why not? Or even better. So Let's go now into the totals free, because I know that this is also a point of interest. So what
Indeed.
happened back then here? I have this 1st of March because, okay, this is what I got, to catch from this trend chart. And we have here also some similar evolution. You see, so some consolidation after March 2020, and then it went up as well. It was not so steep like Bitcoin, or at least from the representation, I don't see it like that. But again, this is the market cap. We don't talk about the price of a certain altcoin. This is the master view, so to speak, for totals free. Then what did we have? Basically, I put here on the bars a bit of chronological information. It was 1st of January 2021. So it was like roughly 10 months after the cut, if we can say that. So not 1 year, but it was the first bullish engulfing candle in the market cap evolution that we really saw as a sign for triggering the upwards movement. And I want to say that noticeable astro before the totals free market cap taking off at that time in 2021 in January was a combination of two events that I saw. It was Uranus turning direct on January 14th, 2021, which preceded, I mean, it was like the candle release from January 1st, and Jupiter-Uranus square on January 17th, 2021. And this is very important because this happened in the sky back then. What do we have now? I told you about Bitcoin. We have Jupiter-Uranus square in the Bitcoin chart this time, but it's the same type of aspect. And Uranus now turns retrograde. So it's not direct. So I think we need Uranus direct, and we will talk about that in a minute, to really see a big shift. But it says that whatever happens now in September, and yes, we will see possibly another dump, could be big.
When you say dump, what do you mean, like in percentage?
I looked at, the history, maybe another 18% correction could be 18%, minus 18%, plus 18%. I saw as an interval for such a transit. It was actually Jupiter-Saturn square and a 5% for the mid, so to speak. So when you are in the mid of the transit. And now we are, let's say, at the first cut, so to speak. And we need to go to the second stage and the third stage. But we have the eclipse energy, which is also on top of it. So we could expect a sharp drop, but I don't think it will last long. Nothing will last long, unfortunately, this month, in my opinion. And this is also good and bad. So the dumps would not last long, but also the pumps won't last long, unless I think we will have really a rate cut. So this is really decisive to get a rate cut, because you see it was a rate cut and then it went up. This is also seen from the Bitcoin chart and also from the totals free market cap. And now I want to measure that nice doji in the market cap, which is the peak. And the peak really happened on the 1st of November 2021. So it was a peak in the totals free market cap, and this was so November is the 11th month, other 10 months after the initial bullish engulfing candle that we saw. Immediately after, we had this Uranus trigger. So this is what I want to share. Jupiter-Uranus aspects are triggers for the markets. They are rare. They don't happen in the sky often, but they happen also on assets, which is the case of Bitcoin right now. And this is something that needs to be paid attention to, in my opinion, because Bitcoin dominates the market. So it could be a big shift, a big turn. So I think we should be prepared for something to happen in the next month. Now I want to give even more details a bit because this is very similar to the situation we have now. I showed you aspects between Mars and Venus, then Saturn, Mars, and then Saturn, Jupiter combined, if you remember, on the previous slides. I know, but this is also the scientific part of astrology. So 2008, which was basically the big crisis, and it was just before Bitcoin was born in 2009, as you know, in January, we had also some rate cuts that were more aggressive. They didn't start with 25, but it was 50
yeah.
base points. And guess what? Venus, the planet of money, Saturn, planet of decision, square means diminishing aspect, so it's about cutting. 90 degrees, so square is a 90-degree. It happened November 8th, 2008. So again, before Bitcoin was born, so an important event, it was this Saturn-Venus related aspect in the sky. And I talk about it because we will have it now. And it's really, so this is again, it was on the Fed astrology. So really, I focused on the Fed because they are the decision makers. And this is, again, a very rare aspect. Saturn has 30 years, to cross the whole zodiac. So it's like we need to look into the history. So now what happens in the sky? I think everybody wants to know that. And
Indeed, even I want to know, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, it's yes. So what happens in the sky now? I will talk about these related Fed. Again, it's the Fed astrology. So Fed horoscope has finally, again, 2008, now it's 2025. We have a Saturn-Venus square cycle. And it happens 3 times. I didn't put the first one, but we get some talks, if you remember already from the summer, about potential rate cuts. The first one was on June 16th, 2024. Now this is on July 12th, 2024. It was the second, so until now nothing happened. No? It was Saturn retrograde. But the final square, which will find, the final, decision and so on, also September could happen as well because we are between these two. And this influence is also like 4 months roughly, Saturn-Venus square, February 17th, 2025. This is on the Fed horoscope. So it's very similar to what happened in 2008. Can we expect an aggressive rate cut of 50 points directly, or maybe only 25? I do not know, or even 100, but I do think that something is bound to happen based on the history of the, the monetary policy, so to speak.
About the ending part of this month, do you see it getting any bullish? Because you said on the 1st of September, it may be bearish, and on the 3rd, it may be bearish as well. So between now and the 1st, which is tomorrow, do you see any type of bullish price action, and what do you see about that?
So with so I tell you, with my classical method that is proven since 2 years plus, that I have also clients, so to speak, for this, it's quite bearish at day level on many days. With my new method, I still think a peak is possible around the eclipse on 16th, 18th of September. It points towards the fact that it's possible that we have rate cuts, and then I think it will get bullish. Although the eclipse itself is bearish on the day, I want this to be clear. Then from the 19th, we will have a sudden Uranus aspect, which is positive. This means significant growth could happen, and I see it bearish from the 24th of September approximately onwards, and then we will have the second eclipse because they always come in pairs. It will be the solar eclipse in the sidereal Virgo, and this will happen on October 2nd. Like I said, I didn't dive yet into October in much detail, and that one would be with the North Node Rahu. So I think we will have pump again, but then dumps are possible also in the second part of October based on my high-level analysis so far, but there I need to go into more details. So September, I see it bearish, bullish, then bearish, so to speak. Like,
Wow. Wow. So
and
we basically we are stuck in this endless cycle of ups and downs.
I think yes. So the bearishness that I see for the end of the month, if rate cuts would really trigger a big shift, upwards, then it could be that it will be a small correction, but still we will have a correction after that. So it doesn't necessarily have to be, what it was until now, especially if rate cuts are decided, because I think this will really move institutions to go into the market, because now it's very new. We have actually a new cycle of Uranus, which started on May 30th, 2024. Uranus in the sidereal sign of Taurus, which is finance, and it will stay 7 years there. So please tell me nobody has any history. Therefore, Bitcoin is also difficult to predict right now, but we do our best and look at S&P 500 84 years ago to see what happens. But the cycle is totally different, and this shows transformation in finance, and we have the ETFs now, the institutional money. Whatever we will see, so I think we will see a big momentum candle, very possible to see it upwards around the eclipse. So 18th at expectation, so to speak,
So
before when
basically we
this
will rally.
expectation.
So basically we will rally into the news, yeah?
Yes, I think yes. It would be around 16th, 18th, if there are good rumors before that, and no other events would really make it very clear that Fed will not will postpone further the rate cuts.
Hmm. So when then do you think we eventually go vertical? Yeah, because I mean we are stuck, but there will be a time when we like rally for months. In the past cycles, we would rally for 4 to 6 to 8 months continuously. Well, having dips, but it's mostly just rally time. When do you see this happening?
I think this is possible after, in any case, after Uranus will turn direct. This is 30th of January 2025. So now it goes retrograde, then it will stay retrograde for 5 months roughly until the end of January. And then what do we see here? The final square, which is February. So January, February. So this is pretty aligned, with the Fed astrology and Uranus turning direct, which also preceded the rally from 2020, 2021. Basically from January, you remember the January 2021 that was here, I think. Yes, exactly here. So this was the point when Uranus turned direct after some months of going retrograde. Now we go into the retrograde, right? And I think that would be the trigger point for vertical move.
So this whole idea of people saying we're going to 100K, essentially that can't happen this year.
I think it's not excluded because we have institutions and they could really play with a lot of money and pump the market. I don't exclude it, but I would be much more sure for the next year, for the next year actually in the beginning, because it's also the final square which takes place for Fed. That would be very firm, okay, this is the way to go, and then people would get more courage.
I know
Hard to
you
say.
don't like talking about price, but what's your own idea of how low we can go in this September, or how high we can go? What's your own idea about that?
I didn't finish really, that part of my method, because with the new method, this is my idea to really go into price prediction based on astrology. I know that this is crazy, but I also have my point system. I quantify each and every aspect that you see and so on. I didn't have time to backtest much, but I have a feeling that we won't go under 40. I know that some people really expect it, maybe 44. That would be the worst case for me
Yeah,
that
I
I
do. I
see.
do have some levels at 45 actually. I have some levels at 45 and 44. But I wonder when or if that would even happen because, well, I don't have enough evidence for it yet. Maybe I will do later, but I just have that level there, but I don't know how. I'm not so certain about it happening. Yeah. For now, I just think that we are basically consolidating and I'm still waiting to get some more data. But do you think we can go as high as, say, 70K in September?
Yes, even 80, I think, would be possible if the rate cut is decided, because the aspects that are very powerful, and the ones that were on the 19th of August, the positive ones with Venus, and they didn't really manifest, I think they are pending. So if both manifest, we have one with the Sun and Uranus, which is also very important in September, on the 19th of September. So it's a span of 1 month between two powerful Uranus aspects. I would say that
I think
something
so.
needs to happen.
So you think we can go as high as that level and still, drop and
And
consolidate again?
yeah, dump, yeah, I think it won't last. So it will be a correction. Now, how much it's, I think if the rate cut is decided, maybe it won't be such a big correction because people will not hunt liquidity, like this. And I refer to banks and institutions because if they are certain about the rate cuts and other upcoming rate cuts, I think it will be quite, assuring for them. So they will stay longer term in the big trades because, I mean, now Bitcoin is a game of big money.
Indeed.
It is clear.
Indeed. Yeah. So I don't know if you've noticed this. Every crypto cycle has had lower gains, or has Bitcoin especially has had lower gains than the previous cycle. And this has been going on for its entire history. My own way of explaining this is the market cap has also been increasing, so it takes more capital to move its price to the upside. But then, if we factor in this theory, the approximate top for this cycle will put it somewhere around 79 to 83,000. But then my question now is, do you see anything astrologically that brings about an intense movement in price action that goes against this diminishing returns that has been happening for all the previous cycles? Because we have things like entities like BlackRock now coming into crypto. Trump is saying he will make the US the crypto what capital of the world. So there are some fundamental reasons to be more bullish this cycle. But then do you see any like link with astrology in this? Do you see any type of intense, I don't know, planets, coming in this cycle that breaks this curse? Or we are just stuck in, going lower and lower every other cycle?
Very interesting question, and I would like to have a very sure answer, but of course, I can also share with you my thoughts and observations about it only. And there is also some, let's say, thinking process and deja vu with an analogy of what we saw in the tech world. So I want to talk about that. So, how I see things, again, this is my personal opinion, and I don't want to, to overwhelm you with other planetary aspects, but I prepared for you a list of dates just to explain this rationale from my side, what I want to share with you now. So I think, like you mentioned, price can be pushed much more up if a lot significantly more capital would go into the market. And of course, increasing of market cap, everybody talks about it, but of course, long term, not only for the next 2 years, but they talk 2030, 32, and so on. So it's like, yes, a bright future is envisaged to longer term. I think it has a strong political dimension first and foremost, if you ask me. So it depends how the elections would go go on in US. I think US is still, a role model for other governments, countries, and so on. So I think this will be a big decision point, I would say. And because this would mean that also the lawmakers would be favorable towards crypto. And then I would say that these institutions, the banks, and everybody that can move the big money would really go full force into it. Now, what is weird for me about Bitcoin is the fact that, astrologically speaking, I don't think it will skyrocket. I know I saw targets from experts like even next year, 400K, 250K. So I saw, and I respect that, because it's like, they have inside information, they know better maybe how the big money moves and so on. But astrologically, I don't see it so strong. However, do you know what I see very strong?
Ethereum.
Yes. If it happens like it happened in the technology life cycle, that, with the internet, we had the TCP/IP protocol, then the, internet protocol, and the application layer protocol. So for the ones which are more technical, you understand that, you lived that history. What happened? On the web, a lot of web applications, so websites era, then, App Store, mobile came, and so on, with all sorts of apps. I see ETH like such a virtual machine, as a powerful backbone of an ecosystem of a lot of applications, when crypto will be really to, real life use case, and it will be adopted. Smart contracts, everything that is really backed by Ethereum, I think they are applicable anywhere. It's only a question of time and of making things understandable for the average person who is not that technical. And the problem right now, I think, in all applications, wallets and crypto exchanges and so on, it's the usability of the user interface. Techies can go on, but a lot of people say, okay, it happened to me at least once that I sent crypto to the wrong wallet address or something. It's still not so friendly and not so error prone as it should be. But I think this will change in time. And for the near term, I would say until mid-2025, and this is where I want to share with you. I share dates again, not planets. Here you can see a European notation of the date and time, date actually. So its format is the day and month. The days are computed from the UTC time zone, from 0 a.m. UTC, to 23:59, UTC. And these are the dates where we see a lot of influences in the Bitcoin horoscope, and I also looked at ETH. And this is the reason for me to believe that ETH would move faster. It's a lot more green than red, first of all, and it's a lot of more green than BTC. And I would say that these are long-term aspects. Each day you see how volatile crypto is and so on. But without these triggers, the green triggers, which are long-term aspects like made by Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, we talked about mainly these three. There is also Pluto important, Neptune as well. All have their importance, but you need to have Saturn, Jupiter, Uranus. I included here Neptune as well, Pluto as well. I don't know if I included the North Node, Rahu. This is also important for growth, but I think we have quite a decent overview from the 3rd of September 2024 until you see here 19th of May, 2025, exactly, where we see what the hell happens, so to speak. And I put it here for crypto, for Bitcoin, in the yellow, background, just to highlight the fact that it's still the dominant player in the markets, and it will, allow or deny the growth. But I see ETH, to be honest, quite powerful. You see what is here? I don't say we see it's volatile. We see also it didn't perform that well, but I think all these drops now that are pretty heavy on ETH would really transform themselves into, such powerful moves upwards, or at least this is the astrology. So to answer your question, therefore, I do see a possibility for a larger market cap, for a lot of money flowing. And I know that the current rationale is that institutional money will not flow into ETH like it flows into Bitcoin, but this might change once crypto will be adopted and this application layer, as we saw it in tech era, will really develop further on the blockchain for all kinds of applications. So it's not only about the crypto itself, but it's also about the blockchain technology and smart contracts. I think this will be very powerful in the future. This is how I see it, at least. And price-wise, it could be that ETH will grow more than Bitcoin relatively in terms of strength. I don't know. I might be wrong, but this is the Astro. So you see,
No,
this is only,
I do have some, forecasts for Ethereum, and the forecasts do show that ETH will be very powerful. Yeah, I do have some outrageous targets actually. Even I don't believe them when I see them. But to say that BTC may not go that high, that would mean that the total crypto market cap could increase, but that mostly goes to things like Ethereum. And if that happens, then Ethereum competitors could actually benefit from it as well. So we are
I think,
basically
yes.
talking about an alt season here.
Yes, and Solana as well. I see Solana also. There are discussions about Solana ETFs. I don't know what is the stage, but I saw rumors in that
Yeah,
direction
but
as well.
BlackRock did say that they don't see any interests for
Mhm.
say institutional interests for other coins apart from Bitcoin and Ethereum. So I think the Solana ETF thing may just end up being, like the news of this cycle, but it never really happens. I think that
Mhm.
could be the case for Solana.
So maybe it will be the next stage of the adoption cycle as
Yeah.
people would really get used to BTC and ETH. You really need to understand these two to go
Yeah.
further, in my opinion,
No,
also in terms
Solana
of
has just become
individuals.
a gambling chain now. It has become the BNB of this cycle, where
Yeah.
people just go to gamble because it's cheap and it's fast. So that's really just how I see Sol. I do think
Mhm.
it's going to do very well, actually. I have targets for 360, for 600 to even $1,000 for Sol. I wonder if the $1,000 target will happen, but I do see it as the top for Solana. Yeah, but what are
What
your
about ETH? What about ETH?
Ethereum?
I am
If I
curious
do
what targets
see
you have.
it's somewhere around 6,000, 6,000, 9,000, 13,000. That's the maximum I see for ETH.
Mhm.
13K. Yeah. I did actually send it in my Telegram channel, but yeah, I'll look it up some other time. So my maximum target for Ethereum this cycle, at least that's what I can see from for now, is somewhere around 13,000.
Astrologically, like you saw, it's a lot of green, and I think chances are there. So let's see. I think it will be exciting times.
What are your other altcoin picks?
I think the ones that are really favored by this Uranus transit, I would say, I see BNB. You saw BNB had an excellent year so
Mm-hmm.
far, I would
Mm-hmm.
say. I would see Solana, Matic, Dot. So Polkadot is also one that I think could really benefit from the Uranus influence that we get because it's positively aspected, so to speak. And we have also others like NIA, the NIA protocol I see well. Rune, Torchain, I see it also moving quite nicely because of Uranus for the next month. And when I say that it would be beyond so it's also the next month until January, it will be hit positively. And then Uranus end of January will change direction. It will go fully direct. And I think then we will get a greater speed in the markets and in the price action. And it will hit it again. So all of these will be hit again. So this means that they will grow in the next part, maybe slower. It depends what happens with the rate cuts and everything. But then they have really the potential to go up. Just a caution, Uranus will make the new all-time highs, usually historically in astrology, but the problem is that it won't stay there. So when you see all-time high and you are, in a short to medium trade, so to speak, in terms of length, then it's good to cash in.
In our
So I
last
would,
video, you spoke about the all-time high coming in sometime around June next year.
yeah, June,
You
July,
still
I
stand
still
by that
think.
conviction?
Yes, I still need to test with my new method, to go beyond this June, July, but because Jupiter will be exalted, so maximum position in the sign of tropical, which is the tropical astrology Cancer, this means that it will be, it has to, but we will see also real estate exploding then. I think in that year, it would be from the mid of 2025 until the mid of 2026. So I think it will be further development there. Yes. And Uranus and Jupiter will get, but this will be further years away a bit in a nice angle again, and then this will be a nice cycle of growth, which will still happen in the 2020s, so to speak. So until 2030, we will see also another growth, long term that we can expect. So I don't think it's, it's such a bad time. Although I see 2030 onwards even better, to be honest.
I compared I actually saw your tweet about DOT. You spoke about it saying that it can do well this September, but you specified a date. I think that was like the 18th. Was it the 18th
Uh,
of
I
September?
don't remember it yet. It's affected by the eclipse somehow. So yes, it will be. But then I think a lot of them will go up. But it has a long-term aspect which is active. And then from this long-term, usually we need to combine the daily astrology and to determine, a date when this happened. But it would be around that date. So it has an activation towards that. And
So
as long
between
as
so between now to the 18th or between now to the eclipse, do you think we get to have the last biggest dip between this time frame, or you think it's going to be later?
I think it has big chances to happen now. You saw also my table. It's not much red immediately, also on Bitcoin side. So I think, yes, now or latest in October,
So
it will happen.
you mean because you talked about like a bull, bear, bull, bear in between this time frame. So what I wonder is, do we get to, because I think there's going to be some other liquidity sweep to the downside, but
Mhm.
what time frame do you think that that gets to happen? What window in time do you think we get to experience that if we are to have that big drop? Because you said that the 1st of September may be bearish, the 3rd may be bearish as well. But I assume you are talking about like dips, yeah? Like maybe 2,
Yeah,
3, 4, 5% dips.
Yeah, a bigger drops because this Jupiter Uranus is very sudden. I don't even know if you can spot something in the TA, for that. This would happen suddenly and unexpectedly. But it could happen in the first week of September. So this, I really expect something. End of September, after 24th, towards the eclipse on the 2nd, would also drop, in my opinion. So it's
Hmm.
because it's a long-term aspect, so it's very difficult to really time it. And yes, September on the day level, I have enough bearish influences, to be
So
honest.
essentially, we have from like the 6th to about the 17th. That's like the bullish window in September.
It could go up, yes, but don't think we don't have bearish aspect on the day because
Yeah,
it's
what
like,
I'm trying to
yeah,
understand is like the windows when we
the
have
windows, yeah,
the
okay,
biggest drops, you know.
yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
you are saying that the first week of September could be really bad.
Yes, especially first, third, fourth also. 5th is a magic day, I call it, because we have bullish influences in the chart of Bitcoin, and that one could trigger. So 5th is very important. Have a look at the 5th also TA-wise, if you can see something, because on the 5th, it could be that the aspects from 19th of August, which didn't happen, they happen then. This is the big question. Will they happen or not? If they happen, I think we'll have a big bullish momentum until the eclipse, 16th, 18th of September approximately.
From
If they
from the
don't
5th.
happen, yes. If they don't happen, although I doubt that it won't happen. If they don't happen, then I think we can grow between the 19th of September, so after the eclipse, until the 24th, so it would be a short time span, and then after 24th again down, then 2nd of October, the other eclipse comes. There I didn't look into detail, but of course news will follow soon. You know, I'm not into it.
I watched one of your videos. You talked about October being more, I think you mentioned that it would be more stable in October.
Yes. Yes, because I think we have, you saw also is aligned with BTC, they have good astrology. And if there are good decisions also from the Fed, you know, point of view, then I think October, I think we need some stability, because from mid-October onwards, because the elections need to be prepared. So we will be 3 weeks into the final day of the election. So they need to position crypto in a good, stable way, I think. I mean, that would be logically. Also, you saw around the beginning of November, there are also good astrological influences on BTC and ETH. So I think it will be a sort of advertising campaign for crypto. So therefore, I said this political dimension is very important, and how they set it up, regardless who comes, but even in their, you know, in their advertising of the whole, you know, program, so to speak. I would say that they would need to talk favorably, because people know that, you know, they know that people want it in general. And I think they benefit from it as well. I mean, they didn't approve the ETF not to really grow them, you know, and
Yeah,
grow the
yeah,
business, so to speak. The
yeah.
ETF business has to be successful, because otherwise, you know, it would be a sign, oh, now institutions came in and crypto doesn't work anymore.
Mhm. So to sum it all up, when you look at this cycle compared to the previous cycles, do you think we get the same momentum or more momentum? How do you see this cycle compared to the previous cycles?
To be honest, I think it will be stronger, because we'll have a, you know, another game. It's another money game. It's a big money here at play. I would say it will be better, but it won't happen very short term. Short term, I'm talking even 25. I think maybe 26 would be stronger. Why? Because as long as Uranus and Jupiter are together, like, you know, in the sidereal zodiac, at least they are still together, it doesn't bring stability. This is the problem. Until the 2025, mid-2025 May, to be more exact, we will have these, both of them in the sidereal sign of Taurus. And
But then you said that we may have in our previous video, you mentioned that we may have a top, like the real top, by June of 2025, and maybe some type of rally by October. So what you may be talking about now could just be lower highs, or am I missing the point here?
no, I think it could be higher high, but again, not sustainable. It will not stay.
Because according historically anyway, 2026 would be a bear market. Yeah, so
Bear, but since when? It would be in the second mid, so in the second half, not in the first half of 2026.
yeah.
This is how I would see it. No? So as long as Jupiter is in this exalted position in tropical, I think it won't go into the bear. So let's say it will be after June, July 2026, if we think
Interesting.
about, a larger time frame.
Hmm.
Of course, we need, so like you saw, I looked in detail until May 2025. Of course, the horoscopes of Bitcoin would need to be inspected. Usually, when I make these predictions, I look at the market, I look at BTC, and then I put the altcoin. So to better predict, it's always good to correlate. And this is also the difficulty with crypto, because if Bitcoin dumps, it's almost impossible
Yeah, yeah.
for everything else to.
Yeah, yeah. Regardless of how good your analysis could be with some altcoin, if Bitcoin dumps, your entire thesis gets absolutely demolished. So,
Yeah,
what's your own, idea of how high Bitcoin could go this cycle?
this cycle. So it depends. I think I would have a better answer after I see who wins the elections in US.
But just
I think
just your own idea of, how high you think. I think it could go to I'm actually thinking that it could go to 100K. Yeah,
100.
I think it could go
I
as high as that.
I
Um
think I think I'm maybe a little bit more bullish. I said 120, 150K.
the
Um,
highest I see is somewhere around 170.
170, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's decent.
mm,
It's still decent in my opinion. Because some are very bullish, like, okay, 400K and so on. I don't know how realistic they are, or,
yeah,
if
that's
they
they
have
are
insight.
always like that. Yeah, in the previous cycle, there were people talking about 300K, 200K. This cycle, they will double their expectations. And sometimes I think they are not stupid. I think they just do that to, goad the crowd into buying more, and not buying BTC more, like buying more of the meme coins or shit coins that they will tell them to buy. So I think it's just a trick. I think some of them that talk about BTC going to $1 million, I don't think they believe it. I think yeah, I think they are just doing that to hype up things, and on social media that works very well. So I don't think they don't know what they're talking about. It's something that they do intentionally. How
Um,
about narratives? What narratives do you think are better positioned for this cycle, that have the best astrology behind them?
I would say Ordi, so ordinals in general would go well, astrologically, at least they are supported, so that group. Um,
I do
else
hold
I,
some Bitcoin, ordinal actually. Yeah,
Mhm.
I had some ideas about it and I bought it, and it's been doing pretty well. It's done far better than most of my coins. I'd say 90% of my coins, that one is doing far better than all of them.
Yeah, from RWA, I see TAO, so Tao, this mantra DAO thing. I think it will be hit again with Uranus and it grew nicely. It will grow. So from these ones, of course, AI render, I think, has good aspects, but not excellent. So from AI, really, this little thing, the PAL,
Mm.
has excellent astrology, but an excellent astrology doesn't guarantee, that
Yeah,
it will.
yeah.
I mean, if you ask me, high level, this is the ones that I would fish. So I think these categories, and for sure, I think it will be a reiteration of the previous topics. So meme coins,
Meme
book
coin.
of memes,
So these meme
Pepe.
coins won't die, huh?
I, I think no.
Pepe, they will still go up.
Yeah, because they will be hit again by the same astrology. This is what made them grow,
Hmm.
will make them grow again. Also, the ones that appear now, I would say, whatever new altcoins you see now, we will have in October, I don't remember the date, the exact date, we will have the last one, the big one planet going retrograde, Jupiter. And Jupiter is the planet of growth. Jupiter, when it goes, back, it will hit again the same degrees and it will increase the market cap for a lot of altcoins that are
And when will
born.
that happen?
It's from October. I don't remember exactly the date because that would be, I will follow up with details for October, but it will be again, if you until the end of the year or something like that, it will be a retrograde motion. And then the ones that are very fresh, like born in the launched in the last 3-4 months, I don't know,
This
let's say
cycle.
roughly.
This
Yes,
cycle.
yes. They will have increase in market cap. So I saw, and the price could also move up a lot.
Interesting.
So I saw, because some of them would take off, exactly after birth, so to speak, because you are shocked. Oh, this thing just appeared and now it explodes. And you are, surprised about it, but it's not so surprising. Usually Jupiter retrograde would really make for that, because Jupiter represents the market cap of any financial asset. So this is the way I interpret and analyze, and I observe that this happens. So good aspects to Jupiter, especially when Jupiter hits again the same degree of Jupiter at birth. It's amazing. It's amazing in general for all coins.
All right, then. We are running out of time, but where can we follow up on your work? I think we can follow on Twitter. You have a YouTube channel.
Exactly.
What are the names of your channel and your page?
It's Astro Andrea. You can find me on YouTube, and at Andrea Tomoyag3. It's my Twitter handle, so X. And
you do have a premium service, yeah?
Yes, for Patreon, yes, I do have 3 tiers of subscription with crypto predictions, and on Patreon and Gumroad also the shops for, the longer term trends and reports, financial reports for various assets. Also custom reports are available, so the altcoin of your choice. If you are curious,
So people can request, can
Yes.
request astrology for their coins and stuff.
Yes, this is possible, and I also want to announce that I will start with October, on the forecast for 2025. So slowly, and they will be available soon, hopefully, until the end of the year. A full forecast for Bitcoin, for the market in general, for ETH. Solana and the mainstream ones. This is something that people showed interest so far. We had this for 2024. I had this as a bundle, and this will be available also next year.
All right, then. Thanks so much for joining me today. I will we'll surely have another conversation like this some other time, but it was pleasant being with you.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure for me as well. Thank you, and wish all of you inspiration, patience, and perseverance when trading.
Indeed. See you next time.
See you. See you.
Thanks so much for watching the video. If you did enjoy it, click the like button and follow the page or subscribe to the channel depending on where you're watching us from. And if you do have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comments. I will leave Andrea's links down in the description of this video. Make sure to go follow her on her page and over on her channel. She does update on BTC and altcoins every other day, so you will find great value following her. Until the next one, folks, stay safe.